Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. This is so wonderful. It's so sweet. We're telling stories here. It's all so cozy. And before I start, I want to thank Alicia and Laura Louise for doing this because I think this is just so wonderful. And it's a great opportunity. This is so beautiful. And thank you for being such a warm and welcoming audience. It's great. So, about a month ago, we had to put our beautiful cat, Lucy, down, which was terribly devastating because she was like a brilliant, amazing cat. She was beautiful and wonderful and smart, and she loved me unconditionally. I was like the most incredible being in her life. She'd look up to me like, Dad, you're so smart and handsome and beautiful and everything you say is right. And when you argue with Mom, you're always right. It's beautiful to have you in my life. And I'm pretty sure she was multi-orgasmic because she was very kind of tactile. And if you sat on, she'd kind of do this kind of thing. And if she sat on my lap, and I really knew how to get her off because she'd like sit there and she'd go, she'd give it to me, Dad. So if I did this thing like this under her, like this, she'd go, oh, meow, meow, Dad, meow, 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 meow. And she'd kind of like deflate on my lap like a hydroplaner, like one of those things that just go like that. And I'm sure if she could hold one, she'd go out for a cigarette afterwards. She'd just go, oh, Dad, that was so great. So we had a great thing going. So one of our rituals over the 12 years that she was with us was she would get me up every morning. So we had this ritual. She'd get me up around 4:30 or 5:30, and I would feed her. So I'd go down and I'd feed her, and then I'd go back to bed and get ready, sleep for a couple hours before I'd have to go to work. So around 7:30, she'd come back up, and she'd get me up. And we'd get up, and I'd get ready and do my thing. Now, she was really, really smart, like really smart, and she knew a lot of stuff. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, she didn't quite get. Like Saturday was not a thing that she quite understood. So sleeping in one day of the week was not really her thing. All she knew was today day. Today day was the day to do the same thing that I did yesterday. So to sleep in was not really something that I did a lot. So one Friday night, it was kind of like a Friday night / Saturday morning. We were up all night. It was like a really brutal week, and I was drinking quite late with my wife, and we were doing things we probably shouldn't do, and we were watching episode after episode after episode of Downton Abbey. I mean, don't ask me why, but we were watching it. Whoa! Finally, Lady Mary and Matthew Crawley got together, so we knew it was okay to go to bed. So we go to bed, and it's like, 4:30, 5 o'clock. And I get this like totally brilliant idea. I'm going to feed her before I go to bed. It's like feeding time, so I'm going to feed her to go to bed. So I put like an extra amount in her bowl so that I could sleep. So great. So I'm going upstairs. We're going upstairs. And I see her and like she's enjoying her meal. And it's great. She's having her breakfast. So I think, okay, I'm going to be able to sleep for a while. So I tuck into bed and I'm sleeping sort of. And like about an hour and a half later, I hear that click, 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 click sound of cat paw that requires a nail clip on hardwood. Clip, clip, click, click, click. Pause. Jump. Puff. Cat on bed. Puff, 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 puff. Cat up Dad's body. Pause. Oh, maybe if I fake it, she'll just kind of leave me alone here. So I'm like, I'm sleeping, and there's this pause. Bunk, 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 bunk. Hey, 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 bunk, bunk. Oh, please. Okay, so I push her down to the end of the bed. Now that was awful. Like I didn't like doing that. And she's looking at me like, Dad, what the hell? I mean, come on, it's me, And I'm looking at her and look, I gotta sleep, okay? I'm tired and all this stuff. So I go back to faking that I'm asleep. So there's like a moment of calm. My wife is lying there. She could bunk her, but no, I'm the go-to guy on this. So puff, 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 up the body, pause. She starts licking and biting and pulling my eyebrows, which it's awful, and it's not fair because they're there anyway, they're an easy target. There was no challenge to it. She's just licking and biting and licking and biting, and I go, please, the licking, I can't. So I get up and I take her outside and I close the bedroom door. I go back in, I get back into bed, and I'm sleeping for a while, and I start to hear scratch, 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 scratch. And I'm thinking, God, hopefully she'll just get bored with this and then go away. Now the doors, all the doors in our house have handles that are levers, and they run parallel to the ground, so you open. So the scratching stops, and then all of a sudden, jump, sprang, 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 jump, sprang. Jump, sprang, click. Door open. Click, 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 click. Pause. I think there's a pause where she kind of calculates how to, she's a full figure girl, so she's not going to run in and jump. It's more of a jump, calculate. So if I got the, boom, up, puff. Puff, 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 up. And then she does the thing that I really can't stand. I really, it's it's okay. So the tongue in the ear. There's, very few people I'll let do that, and it usually involves, flowers and dinner and others. But it's it's a guy ear, right? Guys don't clean it. You don't clean it if you can't really see it. It's just it's filthy already. And then the cat tongue with the licking the body parts and the cat next door and God knows what. So I've got this kind of toxic goo in my ear, and I'm trying to sleep, and I can't bear it anymore. So I get up and I go into the bathroom, because you can't clean it. It's not something you can do this and go, oh wow, I feel better. You got it. So I go into the bathroom and I'm cleaning up, and she's thrilled, Dad's up, all right, okay. So she's with me. So I'm cleaning and I go, all right, I can't stand this anymore. So I go downstairs and I go to the back door, which is a French door that goes out into the patio, and I open the door and I chuck her out. Poof, close the door. Now, this is an indoor cat. Outdoor is a weird place for her. She's been out a lot, but for the first 4 years of her life, if we kept every door to the outside open, she would go right to the threshold and sit there. She would not go out. It wasn't really her thing. She didn't really care for me closing the door on her and putting her out there, but I had to sleep. So I left her out there, and I went back up and I went to bed, and it was great. I had 5 hours of magnificent sleep. So I'm sleeping, and I finally get up. And by this time, everybody sort of let me sleep up. The family, everyone had gone out. So I've got the pad, the whole place to myself, which is magnificent. So a real rarity. So I go down, and I make myself a cup of coffee, and this is really great. And I hear squeak, 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 squeak on the back door. And I look, and there she is. Squeak, 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 squeak. Squeak, 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 squeak. Okay, so I go, oh, sorry, sweetie, And I open the door, and I let her in, and wafting up towards me is this sort of attitude of disdain and disgust, and you have done something to me that has wounded me deeply. And she kind of goes in and she does this massive curve around me, I'm shunning you. And she shuns me and goes over to her bowl and gets and eats the remainder of her meal. Well, I go, okay, well, I feel bad about it, but the place is mine, and I feel great. I get my cup of coffee, and I go into the living room, and I lounge on the sofa, and I'm looking at this beautiful, magnificent, lightly tanned Persian rug that we just bought, that my wife bought to replace the former Persian rug that had been stained so much with Orange Crush and Kid Vomit and all sorts of stuff. So we have this beautiful thing, and I'm sitting there and I'm enjoying it, and I hear click, 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 click. And she comes in and she perches like this, and she looks at me. And I look at her. And she looks at me. And I look at her. And we're having this kind of spaghetti western Clint Eastwood Mexican standoff. And then for those of you who are cat owners or dog owners, you'll recognize this. This kind of slow convulsion starts to happen. Summoning from her very bowels, from her tail. And she vomits this steaming heap of Mr. Fluffy's kitty food and like hairballs and license plates and everything she'd ever touched in her life in a steaming mass right in the middle of my wife's beautiful rug. And I sit there and I watch it kind of seeping into the fabric. And she looks at me and goes like, yeah. And she has this, don't ever lock me out again. And she walks up, gives me one of these things, and poof, out she goes. So I sit there and I scramble around to try to clean it up. It's like, it's impossible. It's like seeped right in there. So I never locked her out again. I loved her, but I did make the stain disappear. If you come over to our house, it's under the sofa. Under the sofa. Thank you. Thank you.